Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight I want to welcome DC Toontime and Eric Hansen to the show. We are doing our top 10 Kenny Loggins tracks, so we want to hear from you in the comments section. What are your favorite Kenny tracks? Well, let's do it. Let's have some fun. Let's go.
Grant is changing the world one track at a time on Grant's Rock Warehouse.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse, and tonight I want to welcome DC Toontime and Eric Hansen here tonight. We are going to talk. Dig this. Who's talking this artist? Well, we are. We are going to talk about our top 10 Kenny Loggins tracks. Now, we know Kenny has a vast catalog. Started out with Loggins and Messina. That went to 1976. They broke up. He went solo, had multiple hits. Some of those hits you may hear about tonight. Did a lot of soundtrack work. I don't think Kenny's career now is as hot as it was, but man, you have to admit, in the 70s and 80s, Kenny Loggins was everywhere. So these gentlemen are here. They've compiled their list. I've struggled with mine. No, not really. But my list is not really, I'm just going to go through it. I don't necessarily have to have all these songs are great. So Eric may rank his, DC may rank his, but I'm just going to talk tracks. And however you guys want to do it, we'll do it. So let's get started. We are going to go 3, 3, and 4. And we're just going to go around, keep it loose, and talk a little Kenny Loggins. So I'm going to start out with Daryl. Daryl, what's your 3?
All right.
Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Grant.
You're welcome.
Nice to be here.
Thank you.
And I'm glad to talk about this artist because I have been a fan of Kenny Loggins since his Loggins and Messina days. I didn't include any Loggins and Messina tracks here.
You didn't?
No, just because that's a different animal for me.
Well,
And this guy's catalog, I love so much of his music, and breaking it down to 10 was difficult as is. As I will show you, this is my master iPod, which contains over 10,000 songs.
Of Kenny Loggins.
Not of
right?
Kenny Loggins.
No. All Kenny Loggins.
Or that's the Loggins and Messina stuff.
There's also Loggins and Messina songs on here, but it's the 10,000 favorite songs in the course of my lifetime. Now,
well, I do want to say this, though, DC, before you get started.
Yes, sir.
Is that we could look at Loggins Messina. We could look at appearances of Kenny Loggins on someone else's record.
Oh.
It was whatever.
I just narrowed my scope to just his solo career.
And that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
We can do it however you want to look at
All
it.
right.
So there you go.
So on my master iPod, now I love more songs than the 45 I have here. Excuse me, I dropped my notes.
You see, you thought DC was a professional.
Hell no.
No.
Guy's just flying by the seat of his pants. I've got 45 songs here that I whittled down to 10. But I tried to take categories of songs and have a song represent the group of that category that I love, much like I do the top 10 yearly thing, because I really love more than just 10 songs from a particular year or artist. Let me preface this as well. As much as I love Kenny Loggins, I do not care for the songs he wrote for movies. I know they're highly popular. The worst offender being Danger Zone, which is a wall puncher for more than a few people. I just talked to my brother a couple days ago about this upcoming show, and I happened to mention how much I hate Danger Zone. He goes, "Oh man, I am right with you." Because we don't normally talk Kenny Loggins, but we shared that. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I will pick a song to represent a category of songs in Kenny's career. The first category will be the fun, quirky type songs. This is in the vein of I'm All Right from Caddyshack, which is the only Kenny movie song I like. Might be the Dancing Groundhog that wins me over. But anyway, my first pick is Mr. Knight from the album Keep the Fire. And this is a toe tapper with horns, swanky keyboards, and it's got a great backbeat to it. Marlon would really hate this, as there's also a sax. There's also a sax solo on this song.
Yeah, well,
but this thing is catchy and fun. And my buddy Dick Smallwood likes to jitterbug to this one. So this is a Kenny Loggins quirky song that you could jitterbug to if you were so inclined. All right, and since I kind of shit on Danger Zone and Kenny Loggins doing hard rock, I'm going to come back with a hard-hitting song that is in the hard rock variety, and he does it very well with Swear Your Love from High Adventure from that album as well. There's a great guitar riff there, and there's great lead work. I didn't research who's playing it, but if you wanted to pick a Kenny Loggins rocker, hard rocker slightly, that's the one. I do not care for Danger Zone, but Swear Your Love is great. All right. As we know, Kenny teamed up with Michael McDonald to create some really great tunes like What a Fool Believes, which is an all-time classic. Anytime that comes on, I never tire of that tune. But I'm going to give a little shine, a little bit of love to another one of their fantastic collaborations. This one, again, from High Adventure, and it's Heart to Heart. It's the same McDonald Loggins vibe, soulful, yachty. It's got fantastic harmonies on the chorus. You have that trademark Michael McDonald keys worked in there. Marlon, you get another sax solo on this tune.
He's
And
so
Kenny-
lucky. He's so
Oh,
lucky.
He's going to buy the whole catalog after watching this. And you do get some Kenny's falsetto worked into the mix here. So those are my top three.
Excellent. Love it.
All right.
Hitting it out of the park already, DC.
Well, we talked before we committed this to recording that on my master calendar, which I put all my family birthdays, my art deadlines, and my appearances on Grant's Rock Warehouse, all listed on there. That block for this recording date was full, so I had to draw an arrow down a week and put Grant's Rock Warehouse top 10 Kenny Loggins. Well, this afternoon I get the invite from Grant to be on the show tonight, and I had to scramble to really fit this together and cobble my notes together. So luckily I know the catalog well enough. It wasn't too much of a hassle. So
You're a damn professional.
I
Darn it.
do what I can.
You're an inspiration, DC. All right, cool. Eric Hansen, welcome to the show. Nice to see you. Hey, let's hear it. What's your first three? And how are you going to present? Do you have these like ranked or?
Yeah, I kind of ranked outside of my top three.
Because I'm going to do mine now. I do have them ranked. I might as well just.
Yeah, I got them ranked. My top three is my top three. The rest, it's just it just depends on the day.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no. For now, what is my number? I got number 10 here. This is off of his debut album, Celebrate Me Home from 1977. I'm going to go with I Believe in Love. So this was first heard on the soundtrack for A Star is Born with Barbra Streisand. Loggins' own version of this that he composed is a little jazzier, has a little bit of an R&B disco vibe to it at the beginning. All of the song always reminds me of like sitting on a boat with a cocktail, very quote-unquote yacht rock, I guess, because it's got that flute. I don't think it's a flute, but what's that other instrument? I can never remember the name of it. It's got the I think it starts with an S, but anyhow, it's weird. This almost, to my ears, has this 1960s style to it. Like I can almost hear like the Mamas and the Papas, Fifth Dimension, or even like the Four Seasons maybe perform a song like this.
Mm-hmm.
We all sometimes hear odd things, little components in music. This is what I hear when I hear the song. But anyhow, I'm a fan of this one. I always like this one. So that's my number 10. Number 9. So here you go, Daryl. It's a soundtrack song.
Oh, good.
From 1984, from the Footloose soundtrack. No, not the title track. I'm going with I'm Free. Heaven Helps the Man. This actually reached all the way number 22 on the Billboard. Actually, a fan favorite song by Kenny's fan base. It's got that heavy. It's a heavy synth driving song with a terrific bass line by Nathan East.
Mhm.
He's played bass for Joe Satriani, Toto, Herbie
Top
Hancock, Ringo
notch. Top
Starr,
notch.
Michael Jackson, on and on. I've always liked this one, even though it wasn't as big as the title track for the movie. Uh, I always thought the song was underrated, and Footloose is a very 80s sounding soundtrack, but there's some good. So I always like Sammy Hagar's song on there. The Girl Gets Around, and I think Moving Pictures was on there. They did the song Never.
The
Yeah,
oh my God, the band Moving Pictures. I
yeah,
have not thought about them in for a long.
yeah. What about me? Classic song.
What
I think
about me?
84, whatever, 83, whatever the song. But yeah, yeah, I'm free. I always like that one. So what is that, number 9? So my number 8, going back to 1971 for Loggins and Messina.
Ooh.
Off of the Sittin' In album, I'm gonna go with Danny's song. Yes, this song
Mhm.
could be higher.
I
Absolutely.
was gonna say I almost fell off
Yeah.
my chair.
Yeah, it's such a really beautifully emotional
Yes, sir.
written song. Loggins and Messina were one of the great duos of the 70s, along with England Dan and John Ford Coley, Seals and Cross. I guess you could put the Carpenters in there. It just,
Sure.
yeah.
Mhm.
Kenny wrote this for his brother Danny when he first had a child. It's one of Logan Messina's most popular, if not the most popular, outside of maybe Your Mama Can't Dance. Uh, yeah, Danny's song, terrific. So that's my number 8.
Excellent. All right.
Yeah, that's a great choice. And like I said, if I was going to include the Loggins and Messina material in my list, that would have certainly made a top 10, but I just kept it solo Kenny.
Yeah. All right, cool. Thank you, Eric. All right, for my number 10, I'm going to go with now. This is the latest thing that I'm going to have in my. I kind of go late and then go back because things kind of got really commercial and it kind of got a little bit too commercial for me. Now, I'm not saying that Kenny couldn't write songs. I'm not saying that there weren't great people playing on these things, but it's just gotten a little bit too slick for me. And I like my Kenny Loggins to be a little bit more less slick. Okay. So my number 10, I'm gonna go with Don't Fight It, which is a Kenny Loggins and Steve Perry song. Produced by Bruce Bachnick, came on the album High Adventure. Now, this was released as a single in 82, got up to number 17 on the charts. Cashbox got up to 100. I think it's a decent song. It's pretty, things are getting pretty homogenized, getting pretty commercial, but I think it's great. I don't really have a problem on it. We've got Neil Giraldo playing lead guitar on this track. God, you've got Steve Perry, Neil, and Kenny together. Come on. Sign me up. I'm good. So that's my number 10. My number 9, let me scroll. Okay. Now, Eric mentioned this already, but I'm going to go with the Loggins and Messina track. My number 9, I'm going to go with Your Mama Don't Dance. Come on. It's a classic. A lot of those parties in the 70s that DC hung out in, they played Mama Don't Dance all the time at all those
It
parties.
was a favorite back in the day.
DC, when he was probably making the moves on the couch, we'd segue from Your Mama Don't Dance to some bread. I'm just saying. But
It
come
pretty much
on.
fluctuated between Brett and the Carpenters.
There you go.
To lay my cards out on the table.
So I'm going to go with that. I really don't have much to say about it. It's just great songwriting. You've got great guitar playing from Jim Messina. It's it's just it is an early 70s classic as far as
It's just it's catchy as hell,
Yeah.
and it's danceable. All the good stuff you want in 70s pop, right there for your enjoyment.
Yeah, exactly. My next one. Okay. Oh, well, see, I have to look at it again. I'm going, oh yeah, that's what my number 7 is. I am going to go with one of those tracks that Kenny did with Michael McDonald. And I'm going to go with This Is It. produced by Tom Dowd, which did a lot of great work in the 70s. Came out in 1979. Keep the Fire, which was his third studio record. I'm not exactly. Well, this probably peaked pretty high on the charts. I'm not exactly sure, but it might be his best known single, possibly one of them. But man, you have to admit, when co wrote songs with Michael McDonald, there was a certain magic here.
Yeah, I read the Kenny Loggins autobiography, and he mentioned that first time he sat with Michael McDonald and started to kind of put their heads together to compose songs, he said it was just so seamless. And there are those associations and all kinds of creative endeavors. You just meld one creative mind with another, and it just works so seamlessly. And apparently, that's what happened with Michael McDonald and Kenny Loggins. Just
Well, I want to mention this too, that vocal blend if they would sing together as well. And
oh,
Yeah.
I mean,
agreed.
two so distinct voicings, but when they come together, it's magic. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that's probably why that they collaborated so much. Even though I wish there was way more, would be
Oh,
great
yeah.
to see them do an album of some
Yeah,
sort.
not. I was going to say. I wonder if it was scheduling or timing. They never did a solo album together.
Yeah,
I
hey
think
guys,
it's
let's
magic.
put that salvo out there, Kenny and Michael, if you're listening. We'd love to get an album of the two of you. About 10 or 12 tracks would be nice.
So this isn't the only Michael McDonald Kenny Loggins track that I'm going to mention. So, but that I'm going to go.
Number 8.
That's my number 8. You know what I did though? Oh, I kind of screwed up. I'll remember. That actually was my number 7.
Oh, it's
Oh.
okay.
But
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay. I think we'll get through this show okay.
We're just keeping it loose.
I'll get it's loose. Can it get more looser? Can it get more loose?
Get more looser.
All right, but I'll give you my number 8. It won't make much difference. All right. What is your next 3?
My next 3, and Kenny Loggins is so versatile, and I think a lot of times people forget. They just think of a couple of the staples of his catalog. But with my next pick, let's move into Gino Vanelli style territory. And you folks who are not that familiar with Loggins' career might be surprised at some of the directions this guy's taken. He is really a very versatile artist. And this is a somewhat jazz tinged, moody piece with some really interesting orchestration. The title track from the album Night Watch. Night Watch, of course.
Yeah.
And Kenny's musicality really comes through. Grant, you'll appreciate this. There is a fantastic bass line running through this song.
Yeah.
And this thing clocks in at 7 minutes and 49 seconds. This just isn't one of his 3.5 minute pop ditties. This has got a lot of different flavors to it, a lot of different pieces all tied together. It's accessible yet a sophisticated composition. All right, for my next pick, a very soulful Kenny next, and this song and arrangement reminded me a lot of something from Todd Rundgren's era of his Liars album.
Mm-hmm.
This song sounds like you could put Todd's vocals on it, and a lot of the musical approach and sound of this thing sounds just like the stuff off that album. Smooth, soulful ballad, and he once again goes into his falsetto. It's another longish track, and it's Now That I Know Love from the album The Unimaginable Life, which is one of his later albums. He got like 14 studio albums. 3 are children's albums. One's a Christmas album. So let's just call basically 10. This is the latest period song I have on my list, but give that one a listen if you're a Rundgren fan. At least to my ears, I see parallels. Okay, for my third pick of this go round. I guess from aside from the soundtrack tunes, Kenny's also known for his ballads, as I say. So I'm going to pick one here, "Forever" from Vox Humana. And I guess this would be a power ballad because it's very strong drumming all the way through. And I think BM Bolt, I'm sure, would agree that this would be a stellar wedding reception tune as he
Maybe.
champions the wedding reception tunes.
Well, he does like a good wedding reception.
He does a good wedding reception tune. And Kenny sings his ass off on here. Very powerful, yet it's a ballad, but there is some real power and might in the drumming that runs all the way through this tune. So it's a little bit different in that respect. So that's my second of three.
Excellent. Excellent. Excellent work, DC.
I do what I can.
All right, Eric, what's your next three?
All right. Well, my first pick here is going to make DC happy
Uh-oh. Well, it doesn't take much.
because it's from 1986. It's from a soundtrack. I'm going with Danger Zone.
Oh, goodness.
Now,
Wait a minute.
It's a
Wait a
1980s
minute. How do I
staple.
block Eric real quick? Let me think. What's that button again?
Bear with me. So, yeah, it's a 1980s staple. It's
No doubt,
interesting note though from an interview with Kenny Loggins. Originally, the first band that was offered to do this song was Jefferson Starship. Well, 86 they'd be called Starship. But
I could
it
see them doing it though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And then from there it went through, REO Speedwagon, Corey Hart.
Yeah, I remember that now that you mention it, Eric.
Metallica was the final band before.
And in fact, I think, and any viewers can correct me, I believe Toto did record a demo of this song, but I don't know if they refused it because they only wanted either Lukather's guitar or only the vocalist 1986 Toto. That would have been Joseph Williams' voice. It was something like that. Again, anybody who's watching, you can correct me or support what I'm saying, but I think that's what happened. But
didn't it come out on something now?
A
version of it.
So I don't. Not that I've ever heard. Again, somebody knows.
That'd be great to hear. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah.
Or I could be getting it confused with something else.
Yeah. But Kenny accepted, put his own spin on it, and Dan Huff, who's not going to be the first time you're hearing his name, he played the guitar on this song. It's a song from a very good soundtrack. I mean, you got Cheap Trick on here, you got Loverboy on this soundtrack. It's a popular movie, and it continues on his run of being the soundtrack king of the 80s. So that's my number, 7. Number 6 for me, I'm going to go off his 1978 album, Night Watch, for Whenever I Call You Friend.
Oh, yeah, killer.
This went to number 5 on the Billboard, originally supposed to be with Melissa Manchester. She had to withdraw from, I think, scheduling conflicts. Melissa had a fantastic voice. You should hear how she talks about you. Midnight Blue. What's the other one? She's absolutely fantastic at Don't Cry Out Loud. She was a great.
Yeah,
I would have loved
tremendous.
I think she did a later version. I think it came out years later with him. But anyhow, in steps Stevie Nicks because Kenny was touring with Fleetwood Mac at the time, and their voices blend well together. One didn't overpower the other, even though there's a lot of stuff by Stevie Nicks I like. I always was more of a Christine McVie fan from Fleetwood Mac, but this is a nice slow build to the pre-chorus, which features a great up-tempo, catchy chorus of this song. I always love the bass guitar in this song by George Hawkins. And really, for his solo stuff, this was really his first major radio hit off that record. So, and then last but not least, the last soundtrack song. I promise, DC.
We only got past the worst of it, Eric. So it's all
yeah,
good.
but I've got a soundtrack song coming up, but it's good.
Yeah, I couldn't avoid it. But this one is from 1988. It reached the top 10 U.S. singles. I'm going with Nobody's Fool. from Caddyshack 2. The movie is forgettable to bad, in my opinion. And from what I read, Kenny was hesitant to write something because in his
Oh.
own words, like, why are we reheating a souffle here, talking about the original movie? But producer John Peters called him, and turns out Kenny was correct about the movie. But as far as the film, this turned out to be a good rocker, and he included on his album Avalon. Dan Huff, mentioned him before with Danger Zone. He was from the band Giant and originally with the Christian rock band in the early 80s called Whiteheart. He played the guitar on this. Absolutely stellar musician, and he almost kind of filled the gap where Steve Lukather was as far as a lot of the studio musicians for guitar. He appeared on a lot. Later, he produced some albums for like some country artists and some pop artists. Talented guy, but yeah, nobody's fool. Absolute highlight of anything to do with Caddyshack 2. Is it slick, like Grant mentioned earlier? Yeah, but it's a fun rocker.
Okay.
So there you go.
Slick but fun.
Yeah.
I don't mind slick as long as the
It's
song
fun.
chops.
Yeah.
The chops songs there. I'm good.
All right, cool. Excellent choices, gentlemen. Well, my next pick, I guess my number 7, right? That's correct. Actually, I think I did have my ranking correct because actually this song I could have put even higher now that I look at it. But when you're looking at Kenny's catalog, there's so many great tracks. My ranking today may be different tomorrow. So it's all good. I'm going to go with I'm All Right from the Caddyshack soundtrack 1980. They used to play this song quite a bit back in the day. They don't play it so much now. So every now and then or on XM or
Sure.
FM rock radio, you'll hear it. And I always like to listen to it. You've got a guest appearance by Eddie Money on it. And I think Eddie sounds great. It sounds like, what is funny is that you have a lot of guest vocalists on these albums by, Kenny Loggins, but a lot of the vocalists that he picks all really seem to blend well. Like Eric mentioned, Stevie Nicks and, Kenny
Of course,
Loggins.
Michael McDonald. And,
Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
I'm not really that big of a fan. This is a bit of a tangent since Eric brought it up, but I'm not a huge fan of Stevie Nicks as a lead vocalist, but I'm a huge fan of her as a background vocalist because she adds a different flavor to it, and her vocals just kind of add a different dimension. Now her just singing solo, especially when she was all coked out, that stuff I'm not really a big fan. She got really raspy and really haggard sounding.
That's a great point because she really, as odd as it to say, she really shines for me as well, more as when you hear her with the background vocals and when she just takes over the whole song. Now, of course, there's more than a few exceptions, but
Rihanna's
really
good. Early Stevie, I thought sounded pretty good. Never great.
I liked her. I liked her with the Don Henley song, "Leather and Lace." She sounds good with him on there. Blends well with Lindsay and Christine.
Mm-hmm.
But
as a background vocalist, I'm good.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the track that she did with Kenny, I think is phenomenal. But from what I understand, I guess Kenny really pushed her in the studio. I guess it wasn't that great of an experience for her.
No, it wasn't
because
pleasant.
she's probably not used to. I mean, Kenny was producing. I need you to sound like this. But I think we'll get to that song because I did pick that. But I'm All Right. I love the production of it. It's just kind of quirky. It's kind of, how do you even really describe it? But I think Eddie Money being on here is great. I think it's one of his better tracks. I could have rated it higher. It got to number 7 on the charts, but
it's quirky, playful Kenny, which he was good at as well. And like I said, of all the song material he created for film, that one I don't mind. Like I said, maybe I just keep on imagining that little groundhog dance.
Yeah, you got to kind of put it. You kind of have
The
to
context,
separate it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this was also produced by Bruce Botnick, who did The Doors, the Doors engineer. He did produce, L.A. Woman after, I love Bruce Botnick as an engineer and as a producer, and what he brings here, I think it's great. It's catchy. I can't find any faults in it. It's just a good single. It's a great single. Let's give it that. My next pick, since I already went on a tangent, sorry about that. I'm gonna go with number 6 is gonna be What a Fool Believes, the Kenny Loggins version.
Mhm.
That yes, produced by actually the arrangement and with the productions by Bob James. And this came out on the Night Watch album 1978. It came out a couple 6 months, maybe 4 or 5 months before the Doobie Brothers version. Now, does it sound like the Doobie Brothers version? No. Is it as good as the Doobie Brothers version? Well, it's a little bit different take. But I will say this, a good song is a good song. And this is a good song, whether you've got the Doobie Brothers version, which I think probably Ted Templeman production, maybe it might be a little bit better. Because you do have that Michael McDonald vocal. You know what I think it is? I think most people are probably used to hearing that vocal for the Doobie
Yeah.
Brothers. So when you hear
Mhm.
Kenny's version, it's a little bit different, but I don't think it's any better or worse. It's just a little bit different.
Different.
But
Yeah.
good songwriting's good songwriting. So check that out from his second
Yep.
album, Night Watch, 1978. So that's my number 6. My number 5. Oh my God, here we go. Eric brought this up. Whenever I call you friend, Kenny Loggins and Melissa Manchester came off a Night Watch as well, which I think's really a phenomenal record. We could go just into that record. That's a whole other show. Got to number 5, 1978. Of course, we know Stevie Nicks did the vocals on it. And again, when Stevie does a duet with somebody, or when Kenny does a duet with somebody, it just works. And, if you look at Kenny Loggins' career, there are duets out the yin yang. But I think this is great. What can I mention else about it? Yeah, we had Bob James doing the string arrangements, the production on this. Nobody else really on this track that really sticks out to me. I don't know. Good track. Check it out if you haven't had it. It's a classic. So that would be my number 5. All right, gentlemen. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. DC Collins for his top 4.
Okay.
DC.
All
All
right.
right, brace yourself, Eric, because this is going to be something. No
When you were there.
soundtrack songs on here.
No, that is my promise to you, the listening and
And no
viewing
Loggins and
audience.
Messina. So
No, and I love the Loggins and the Messina, but I love Kenny Loggins so much, and I already had to pare it down from 45 songs that to include that catalog as well would have been just too much for me at this point. That's a great live album. Yes, sir. There are all those. My favorite may be Full Sail of the studio albums.
really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I do like that quite a little
Yeah,
bit.
I've got that. I don't have it right here. I thought I had it right here, but maybe I don't. Oh well. I have a lot going on here. If you could see my desk, you would
Imagine-
probably all go over here and vomit.
Imagine Kenny and Jim on a yacht or on a sailboat, the blue skies. You'll get the idea of the album cover. But anyway, when we last left off DC's top 10, he was talking ballads. So as we enter the last 4 selections here, let's continue in ballad territory. Let's go with a reflective tune, as Kenny is an introspective artist, and I'm picking Only a Miracle from High Adventure. Kenny, as you were alluding to before, he really knows how. He had great producers, but what Kenny wanted in a song, Kenny went at it until he got it just the way he wanted it, much to Stevie Nicks' dismay on their duet there. But he knows how to arrange these songs for best effect, and it really comes through on this one. To round out my last three, they'll be chosen from my favorite Kenny Loggins album, which is Celebrate Me Home. And this album for me is a stone cold 10. I love every song on this album. Let's start with my first pick. We'll go with Lady Luck. And it features a smooth, funky, soulful backbeat. And that, again, Grant, there's a very solid bass line here with a mandolin. Now, you would never think that kind of combo would work, but it does. You also get a mandolin solo, and you get a searing guitar solo as well. So there are a lot of things put into the mix here, but it all works. Like I said, he is really a masterful arranger on top of all his other talents. Guy's really great arranger. The next one I'm going to pick from Celebrate Me Home further showcases Kenny's musical variety. This one has a calypso island feel, much like the aforementioned album Full Sail and some of the tracks on there. This tune is called I Believe in Love, and it's a toe tapper with some rhythmic, flowing lyrics that Kenny sings. That's very cool. I mean, just the way he plays off the music and delivers the lyrics, very catchy. And my last pick is I've Got the Melody. When we talked about duets, this is a duet with Patty Austin, the great female soul singer. And there's a bit of a disco vibe. And if I remember correctly during my disco dancing days, this would occasionally be played in the clubs. And there's a wonderful trade, like you said, Grant, and Eric mentioned as well. Every time Kenny would do a duet, it just worked. He just knew the talent he was working with and to play off of everybody's strengths to get the best product. And that, again, speaks to this guy's talent. And this is a true collaboration, as Patty Austin wrote this song, which, as I was researching today, either I had forgotten, which is possible, but it was in the research material I was looking at, and I'd completely forgotten about that. Again, a great melody, vocals, and instrumentation, the works.
So
there you go.
Did Patty do her own version of it?
She may have. I don't know that for a fact. And that may have been a song that Kenny heard off of one of her albums and said, I love it, let's do a duet. But I don't know. I didn't get that far into my research.
I've got like a Patty Austin CD. I'd have to look. I don't know what her catalog looks like.
I don't know, but she's certainly a humongous name in the soul industry at that time period. Like I say, this whole album, Celebrate Me Home, for me, it's a 10. I love every song off of it, and I could have probably picked 8 of the 10 tracks on there to be part of my top 10. Love it. Great variety. Perfection.
Excellent.
So I'm done yammering.
That was your number one?
It was the last of my picks. I didn't rank them as I like them.
I know, but it's Celebrate
My last
home.
pick.
He likes Celebrate Me Home.
I love that album. Of all his solo albums, that's my fave.
Okay. Well, good choices there, but no Loggins and Messina, so I'm a little disappointed.
Well,
but
sorry.
That's okay. All right. Thank you, DC. No, seriously, those are great picks. All right, Eric, what's your final 4?
All right. Well, I'm going to help you out with the Loggins and Messina here.
I hope.
I'm going to go to the Loggins and Messina album, 1972, for Angry Eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Song dealing with, human emotions.
Angry eyes.
Of anger and misunderstanding, right. The flute and percussion really give this song a trippy feel to it. Really good bass guitar work from Larry Sims. really, you guys have both mentioned
Well,
the bass guitar work and a lot of these songs. Holy
Oh my!
well,
What? Jeff's kiss. What?
DC could back me up on this, but that original Loggins and Messina band, hot shit,
yeah,
right?
So solid.
yeah, they
So
were
Very
solid.
good players.
yes, yeah, because they
The-
had long jams like this one.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
What
I
I
like Jim
can't
Messina's
remember.
vocals on this one too. Yeah,
What's the long jam that's on the album after on the third album? It's like 7 minutes. Jim Messina's
be,
oh the
be
brain.
free, be free.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's great stuff on there.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
In fact,
Uh,
there's just gems on all that Loggins and Messina stuff.
yeah.
I know we're on
you,
a tangent, but there's
well, Grant, aren't you and Pete gonna tackle that catalog soon?
well, I
Yeah.
don't know when.
Okay.
We're getting
Well,
there.
it's got some real gems too. Like I said, that'd have been too mighty a task for me to also include the Loggins and Messina with the Kenny solo for a top 10.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's all good. All right,
No,
sorry, I keep going.
no,
Get back on
yeah,
track.
no, you guys are right. I mean, to me, this is, I think one of their top two or three songs.
Oh, well, we'll
Easy.
soon see when I do my list.
Yeah, right. So that's my number 4.
4.
Number 3, Grant mentioned this one earlier off the High Adventure record, 1982. Don't Fight It. So his duet with Steve Perry from Journey. So the story goes, Loggins did an outdoor festival with Journey at the
Okay.
time, and he got to talking with Steve Perry. Steve was starting to work on his material for what would be his first solo record because he wanted to do something a little different than what Journey was doing. So Kenny invited him over to his house for his new album. He wanted a good little rocker with a good groove, and Don't Fight It was born. And interesting enough, they both sang at the same time in the studio, which is usually not the norm. You know, you usually have one guy doing vocals one day, the next day the other guy comes in. Um, all three of us have mentioned Kenny's voice blends fantastic with Steve Perry.
Yeah.
You know, they both show their range in this song. Yeah, they were both really happy with the result too. Number 17 on the Billboard. Here's another one. Number 17, and you hardly ever hear this unless you got Kenny Loggins' greatest hits or you got satellite radio. I've always thought this was underappreciated. I had a cassette tape where I borrowed it from somebody back in 1982, and it had all these gems. And Don't Fight It was it was probably one of those cassette tapes you got at the gas station, and you're looking at all the songs. Holy cow! It's
There's some really wild mixes at those gas station cassette collections. Like,
yes,
what?
yeah,
But the fact that that was a single, it was a hit, it's just kind of fallen off the off the planet. You never hear it anymore.
It's just
Right.
weird how some of those songs, you will hear them out of the blue and you start thinking, why the hell do I got to wait 7 or 8 years to hear this song?
Right.
It should be in more rotation on some station
Right.
somewhere,
Correct.
you'd think.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
Weird.
Anyhow, that's my number 3. So my final two are my final two for a long time. DC already mentioned this one, or I think might have Grant did. Anyway, off his third album, Keep the Fire, 1979, where the album cover, Kenny Loggins, looks like he could have starred in Jesus Christ Superstar.
He looks like Jesus.
please.
Number 11, excuse me, number 11 on the Billboard, co-written, of course, by Michael McDonald, who also sings background vocals. A song that shows Loggins' ear for great melody and harmonies, a
Yeah.
very blue-eyed soul type of song, one of his quintessential tunes, and a song that seems to get better. It's like fine wine. It just keeps getting better. I mean,
Mhm.
40 plus years listening to that song, it sounds like it was just came out a few years ago. Yeah, love it. And my number 1,
Yes, sir.
1982 album, High Adventure, Heart to Heart. I mean, you got Michael McDonald co-writing, piano, Lenny Castro on percussion. You've got Richard Page and Steve George from Mr. Mister on background vocals. A song that would have fit right in on the Minute by Minute album by the Doobie Brothers. And
Oh, yeah, good.
100%.
yeah,
Yes.
100%.
yeah. One thing I will say, the two, I think we kind of hinted about Kenny. I don't think he gets enough credit for having a very soulful voice and his range on all these records. Loggins and Messina, it's on display here. Man, the guy really had a voice. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
he flies
Yeah.
under, like Richard Page or Daryl Hall. It's just like, or I've always said JT Taylor from Kool and the Gang. One of those guys is just you listen and says, "Holy crap, this guy can sing his ass
Yeah,
off."
JT
Yeah.
Taylor's greght. A lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
That's such a great point there, Eric, because as I mentioned a couple times as I was going through my top 10, just I heard all these songs, but I just didn't realize how
Yeah,
great Kenny's falsetto is.
yeah,
And he goes in that falsetto. I mean, not everybody can do that or pull it off the way he does.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's just got the range, the soulfulness, everything in the mix.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's yeah, and this one here, it's just a very well crafted song and lyrics that it just everything just flows really well. Yeah, this was an easy number one for me. I've always loved this. So yeah, heart to heart. There's my 10.
All right. Excellent. Excellent choices, gentlemen. All right. Well, I know DC's just going to be giddy because I'm choosing this. I'm going to go my number 4, Celebrate Me Home. Written by Bob James and Kenny Loggins. Title track off the 1977 solo album, Celebrate Me Home. Oh,
That tune has become a
This-
holiday favorite as well.
it does. But you know what? This was not released as a single.
It's an outrage.
People think it was.
Oh, it's an outrage.
It's an outrage. DC's outraged. But there was a promotional single where it came out and I got somewhere it charted, but it's one of his better known songs
You
and
know
it's
what?
a classic and everybody thinks it was released as a single,
It wasn't.
but it wasn't.
And Grant, he didn't really take off in his solo career with that initial solo album. There's nothing on that solo album that was a hit.
No.
It took the second album is when he started making headway. But to me, that first album's a 10, as I said.
But how could they not release this as a
I
single?
don't know.
Come on, Bob.
The mysteries of music and marketing and
Bob James is
Yeah.
playing keyboards on it. You would have thought Bob would have said, let's throw this out there
Yeah,
and see if it sticks. But
you would have thought he had more juice.
I guess not enough juice. All right, my number 3, I'm going to go with Loggins Messina track because I think all my favorite tracks are Loggins Messina tracks. Let's be honest. Come on. I'm being honest. I'm going to go with Danny's song. Of course, you mentioned it already that this was written for his brother, had his first child, and blah blah blah. We've already went through it. Anne Murray did a version of this track that reached what? It was a top 10.
It was up there.
Yeah.
Probably number 1 in Canada.
Probably. Whatever. Canadians love Anne Murray.
Absolutely.
We've already talked about it, but I think it's phenomenal. Most people probably do think of that Anne Murray track. But come on, the Loggins and Messina one. Come on. So good. My number 2, I am going to go with, and neither one of you mentioned this, but I could even, at times, I'm just surprised no one else mentioned this. I'm going to go off a song off of Sittin' In. And I absolutely think this is perfection. I could have rated this. I'm going to go with House at Pooh Corner. I can't get enough of it. I remember that track when it was out when I was a kid, and I couldn't get enough of it then. I can't get enough of it out now, but it's just so quaint and
It's just a beautiful song
It's
for children.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And whether it's for children or whether it's not, it's got an infectious melody.
We can all appreciate it,
We can
but
all
such a tender
appreciate it.
song for kids.
Tender. I'm just going to leave it at that. Absolutely one of the standout
good point,
tracks on
DC.
Sitting
Yeah.
In.
Yeah.
My number 1 will always be my number 1. Always. And I'm going to take points away from Eric because he rated it lower. But Angry Eyes off of the self-titled Loggins and Messina album. which I think is everything you could think Allman Brothers. You can think of any jam band that is out there. This can go toe to toe with any of those. The band, we talked about the band before, how hot the band was. They had great. It's that extended instrumental section is absolutely unbelievable. And the thing is that not a lot of people mention this now, but Jim Messina's guitar work on all of these Loggins and Messina albums, you cannot mistake it. He's got a definite tone, and the way he plays it. I don't know if
Yes.
he's picking, but
Doesn't it sound like a picking is worked into
I think
the
he's using
overall?
his fingers. It's kind of like that
Lindsey
technique.
Buckingham.
Buckingham,
Mark
Stephen
technique.
Stills type
Knopfler,
of thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
type of
Yes,
thing.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never get tired of it. Now we know that Jim does share vocal duties on this with Kenny, but whatever. I
Doesn't
don't
that
get-
song encompass everything that was great about Loggins and Messina?
Yes.
Because you have the musicality, yet if you just take the basic aspect of the verse chorus, it's a nicely contained pop rock song.
Yeah.
So it encompasses everything that was so great about that band.
Well, years later, when FM and AM started narrowing down their airtime, because that track is what, 7 minutes?
740.
They release as a single, so it's like 2 minutes. So they cut out all the whole instrumental.
Uh,
So it just goes from the verse, chorus,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
But
was this released as a single though anyway or no?
Run Radio started playing it. I don't know if it
yeah,
was
not officially,
I don't
but when
think it really
radio,
was a
No.
single. No.
yeah, radio made the decision that we're going to give it 3
love,
minutes
right?
and 17 seconds or whatever. And like I say, if you take out all the instrumental aspect, you have a great pop rock song there that was also part of the Loggins and Messina.
They did
overall.
they did a Light My Fire by the Doors on it. They cut out the organ solo.
Yeah, but
Good point. Yeah.
think of like my Fire by the Doors. You've got that whole middle section it's the same thing, only we're doing it in 1972.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Come on, it's brilliant. I love that stuff. I love it. So this is my favorite track. It'll always be my favorite track. You know, great stuff. And Jim Messina, underrated guitar player, needs to get more attention, I think.
Mhm.
They really
Well,
had a falling out, didn't they? Before when they broke up, is that
I don't know. I think
It
they
was
just
getting more,
ran their course.
Eric, it was getting more and more tenuous as they went along. And Kenny was kind of like, because he originally brought in Messina to produce him. And he was feeling like as much success as they had, it was still Messina was getting a little bit more overbearing as they went along. And towards the end there, it was just like, nah, we're done.
done.
We're done. We're done.
Well, they ran their course.
Sure. It's, happens.
Considering that Messina wasn't really supposed to be part of it, but
No, it was just all of a sudden now he's part of a duo when he was originally just supposed to produce that first album, and they called it Sitting In, but then he's
well, when it
Go,
sold some
Captain.
records, then they went, oh,
there you go.
I guess we're together. All right. Anybody have anything else to mention before we wrap it up? Any honorable mentions or anything?
Well, I can rattle off a few. if we
Okay,
got
go
time.
ahead.
I
You
got
can
we're
always
all right.
edit it out. I just wrote
No,
these
we're
down.
all right. Go.
I had Celebrate Me Home as well. Lorraine, I'll Be There. I Believe in Love. Love Has Come of Age. This Is It. The Real Thing. Wait a Little While. And Angelique.
All right, cool. Eric, what you got?
Yeah,
Anything
I
else
got
to
Celebrate
mention?
Me Home. What a Fool Believes. Heartlight. Always kind of liked Heartlight. Mr. Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Move on from Loggins and Messina.
Yes.
Valhalla.
Yeah.
And, I know it's a soundtrack song. Meet me halfway, and I'm all right. There you go.
I kind of like I'm all right though. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I'll throw a Loggins and Messina song out there as a little salute salvo to my deceased mom. She loved Loggins and Messina's single "Thinking of You." Because when DC was playing his music in his bedroom,
Oh, no.
9 times out of 10, my mom would bang on that door, turn that down, especially if I was trying to play along to something.
Mhm.
But when thinking of you, when she heard that tune come out of my room, knock, knock, knock lighter, oh, that song is beautiful. I love that. So hats off to mom. She did like 1 or 2 of my records.
Knock, knock, like, honey. Oh, now that's much better.
Now that's music. Now that's
that's
a nice
music.
song. Oh, the crap she had to put up with my taste in music opposed to hers.
Poor woman. All
Oh,
right, boy.
one other thing.
Okay.
Michael McDonald came up a lot in our conversation.
Mhm.
Have you guys listened to any of the tracks from this new Doobie Brothers album coming out?
Oh no, I have
It's
not.
pretty good. It's
Not
not
bad.
you're not going to get China Grove.
No,
I'm not
no.
picking up any of that early Doobie stuff. But a lot about, Stampede era, Vices and Habits, some of the more
Living on a fault line,
kind
taking
of
it to the street
vibe.
type of thing.
I mean, what I've heard, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a pretty good album. So
Yeah.
there, I'm done.
I really enjoyed their last one. It didn't have Michael on it, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, with Michael in the fold and the some of the original guys in the band, it'll be interesting.
All right, cool. Well, we're just trying to turn you on to stuff. Check out the new Doobie Brothers. Let us know what you think, what you've heard of it. Let us know what you think of Kenny Loggins. Let us
Don't
know
be
what you
shy.
think of Don't be shy.
Get in there
Leave
and
a comment.
Get in there and comment, folks.
Yeah.
We do want to hear from you. So, based on that, let's wrap this dog up. I want to thank tonight's panel, DC Toontime. Look at him. And then Eric Hansen. I appreciate you both showing up. Of course you would show up. It's the Warehouse. It's what we do.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. I really enjoyed it.
So hopefully, let us know what you think of Kenny Loggins. And
Hey, Grant, let the folks know our next fantabulous trio top 10. It would be America.
Yeah, I don't know when that is. I don't have the book.
It's coming up this month, folks.
Okay, America.
Yep.
Stay tuned.
Same bad channel.
Same bad bat channel. Same
At time.
bad time.
Somewhere around there.
All right, everybody. We'll see you. Have a good one. Thank you, gentlemen. We'll see you on the next one.